All right, good morning. It is 9:30, so we are going to open the General Government and Public Safety Committee meeting for October 25th. We have a 3-item agenda. Are there any changes?
I move that we adopt the agenda as published.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, we have an agenda. First up is Midtown Utility Box Wrap. Sarah, it's all you.
Thank you. Here a quick presentation. Okay, so you may remember a couple years ago, 3 years ago, actually at this time, Rick and I were here to talk about the Lacey Midtown branding program. And part of a couple of our priorities at the beginning for 2020 were utility box wraps and banners. 3 years later, we've been through a pandemic and a recovery from a pandemic, and now we're finally able to begin. We've made progress on our utility box wrap project. Just a quick presentation. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. This was parts of a presentation we did 3 years ago, just to highlight some of the different projects for Lacey Midtown. And the utility box wraps were the top priority at that time. Let me move the screen here. So what you see here is a map of the Midtown district. It's essentially from College Street west to Sleater Kinney and I-5 south to Pacific Avenue. There are 8 utility boxes in the Midtown district that we intended to wrap with the logo and some branding materials for Lacey Midtown to get the name of Midtown out, start getting it noticed in the district. This was one of the initial designs that we brought to you back in 2019 with some direction to go back and revisit it. So in that time, we've had Donna Feliciano from Public Affairs and John Cook to help us out with this project. And we've come up with a few different designs for the utility boxes in the district. John and Donna went out, arranged for an aerial photo of the district, and then Donna put together the graphic with the Lacey Midtown an Innovation District logo on it, and then some pictures to kind of highlight what we want, the Live, Learn, Earn, Create kind of logo that we came up with, or that the Committee for the Branding District came up with back in 2019. We also are including a QR code on the wrap, and we expect that would people can take a picture of that, and it would direct them to a web page that we plan to put together with more information about Lacey Midtown. Maybe the users in Lacey Midtown, the brand book that we identified, the strategic plan for the district are some of the things that we would highlight on the Lacey Midtown Lacey Makerspace. I think we'd highlight that on the web page for the district. This is one of the designs. We anticipate that we would have some different pictures throughout on this main image here, sort of highlighting in the district where that box is. If this was, say, this could be in front of the library or at Huntemer Park with children playing or doing some craft activities from one of our kids' events. So you have a makerspace photo, and then some folks learning and earning in the district. This would be the main front of the box, and this would be the side. So as you're walking up to it, you would see this.
So I think on the learn side, we should have one of them should be St. Martin's University, and the other one should be SPSCC Lacey campus as pictures. Okay. So we're promoting those two, learning those education.
Specifically? Okay.
Yeah, specifically.
Okay.
Especially on the learn side, because that's obviously the learning part of it is all higher education. It's not learning for elementary school kids.
Yep, and we do have a box immediately across the street from SPSCC where something like a photo from SPSCC would be appropriate. So those are a few of the designs.
So
and I
that's
said
the front and that's the side.
This is the front and this is the side, yep.
Yeah.
And then this is the back, so you have the buildings, the roofs and the parking lots, which
It's on the
would be on the
back,
back
okay.
side, so you don't see it.
Cool.
That QR code could be maybe a little bit bigger, so if someone's in their passenger in their car, they can hit it or something like that.
Is that possible? Can you take a picture of a QR code from your car?
You
Okay.
can.
Okay,
It'd have to be pretty big, I would think,
yeah,
to do it that way, but
okay. So those are the designs we've come up with. There's still a little bit of refinement on those. We'll look at pictures, like you suggested, of the university and the community college. And get those designs finalized. This is so where we are with the implementation schedule. We've finalized the locations. We have a vendor selected. Our next steps are gonna be to coordinate with operations because we need to get the boxes cleaned before our vendor puts them on. We're still gonna we still need to work with the vendor on getting the drafts set up so that we can finalize that design with them. And then our target launch, now we've entered the rainy season and I'm not exactly sure how that's gonna affect installation of the wraps, but early 2023 at the latest at this point. The develop a community message, that really goes for all the district branding, which we still need to do. And I think working on that webpage too will help with that. But one of the things that I was thinking, in terms of these wraps, banners were our next step. And I think the picture frame with the banners would be the picture side would be a good, could work well as a banner throughout the district along the park. That-
question for you. on that.
Sure.
So you said finalized locations. You said there's 8 of these boxes in the
There
district?
are, yep,
So I'm assuming we're doing all 8 of them, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes, yep. Do you have any questions for me? Any other questions?
No.
Anything?
Sir,
No.
can you minimize, go to the left, there you go, and then, so those, I just wanna make sure I saw the map. So those are the locations we're talking about.
Oops.
It was there.
There we go. Oops. Okay, yeah. So 2 at City Hall, yeah.
Okay.
This one we thought, focusing on the library, potentially, I mean, Lacey Makerspace is in that location, St. Martin's, we could do a St. Martin's Learn call, photo there as well.
I like the concept a lot. I think it's a great idea.
We went out and visited some of the wraps in Olympia, and I think actually the large aerial photo and then those pictures will look, I think it'll look really good, especially off from a distance. I think it'll
As
look
the,
really well.
as the district develops too, over time, they can be updated, reflect the newer additions and things of that nature.
Sure.
Maintaining that, the slogan of live, learn, earn, create. Just a couple of other things that are happening, put on the committee's radar is the other key piece of implementation is the 7th and College intersection, the roundabout that the council was briefed on at a council retreat, 2 council retreats ago with MGR Development in St. Martin's. I had a productive meeting with Abbott Marion as well as Mike Raskin. We're ready to move forward with the MOU. So I have scheduled that for a work session in December for council to be briefed on the MOU, as well as be pushing that draft MOU through the Abbey at St. Martin's as well. So that will be coming together as well as part of the implementation strategy that's on the list that Sarah showed earlier in her presentation. And then with that, MGR is looking to move forward. We should be seeing an application here in the near future for their next project, a mixed use project of about, was it 350 units?
Yeah.
And ground floor retail along 7th to fill in the parking fields behind the 2 office buildings next to Hunterman Park.
Oh, okay.
They'll do underground parking and so that project would be coming forward as well. And with that, we might be able to do some work with one of the other goals in the implementation strategy is to provide overhead lighting across 7th. So you have that, that especially in the winter months, some more light illumination and opportunity to have those wintertime events be more festive as well. So there's a lot of things that are starting to happen now that we're, as Sarah mentioned, we're coming out of this pandemic, we're getting our feet under our ground again and going back to those old strategies, but we're priorities for the council.
Can the QR code also, when it brings someone to, to that page on the website or whatever, can we list businesses that are in that area, restaurants, things to do and all that kind
We
of
were
stuff.
looking at that and setting up some type of informational page. I think at least having the map and identified locations as one concept. We do have a map of restaurants in the entire city that we can probably look at just in that area. We can see what we can do for our information purposes on that QR code, but it gives us that opportunity.
Yeah, just to help, just defining that, and this helps a lot, I think, in defining that area and trying to make it a destination,
Yeah.
the goal to make it a destination area, so.
Yeah, I would
It'll let
want
people
it.
know what's there.
Yeah, exactly. I would want to tell people, this is what's going on here. This is what's here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Park events, things like that.
Does that go to like location Lacey? Is that where it would reside?
It could, that's a good question, because I haven't really thought about which webpage to host it. It could be at location Lacey and Midtown District, or we can have a reference on both and link back to location Lacey. I want to make sure there's multiple paths.
Excellent.
I do like the idea of it going to location Lacey. And having a
Like
having sub districts within that location.
Any other questions?
Good, Andy. All right, let's
Nope.
move on to 2022 property retained by police department. Thanks, Sarah, that was awesome.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Chief. You're up, chief.
Good morning. Morning, Ryder, Chairman Richard. I'd like to give you a brief update on property retained by the police department pursuant to RCW 63.32.01. As you know, as property retained by the police department and used to help save the community, we need to notify council. I issued a staff report along with an inventory of what we've kept since 2006. And the only item added this year was one pair of bolt cutters valued at $50 that are placed in one of our sergeant's vehicles. That's my update.
That's it, one item for the year, huh? Okay, cool. Any questions or anything, Andy?
No questions.
All right. Well, thank you, chief. Appreciate the update.
And just a reminder, we typically place this on the consent agenda, and so.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's a good place for it. All right, then we will move on to the third and last item on our agenda, vandalism in parks. And is Jamie with us?
Yeah, Jamie's
Oh,
fine.
there he is. Okay. Hey, Jamie.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good. It's all you.
I will share my screen. Okay, thanks for the opportunity this morning. I'm Jamie, Parks Maintenance Supervisor, and Scott Egger has asked us to prepare some presentations this year just to help educate the council on some programs that we operate, or maybe some obstacles, some hurdles that we face. This would definitely fall under the latter. This would be a challenge and obstacle for our department, also for facilities. So just want to update you a little bit on kind of the a year summary worth of vandalism and kind of misconduct, misuse of city parks and facilities. So can you see the presentation okay?
Yes.
So just an overview of the year. We've had 108 total events for the year. 17 we would characterize as vandalism, 7 thefts, and 84 different incidents of graffiti. You can see kind of by location, Holman Park is our leading site at 19 events this year. Rack shortly behind at 17, and then Meridian Park and Rainier Vista, each with 10 incidents. So just go into a little bit of detail about each of the kind of type of misuse. First, we'll talk about vandalism. Maybe just, you never know what you're going to find. I think 4th of July week is always an exciting week in our department. This year, for example, we had somebody detonate an explosive a firework in our honey bucket at Bush Park. Unfortunately, that had to be replaced as a result. This was one of the dumpsters that was used as the 3rd of July event at Rainier Vista Community Park. That unfortunately was set on fire the following day on the 4th of July. And then the same week we had somebody somehow stab a pocket knife through the plastic casing on the electrical meter at the Wonderwood Park bathroom. Looks like it arced, and I hope this person's okay, but PSC had to come and replace the meter for us. So that's just 1 week of events in the parks. Some other notable events. The week couple weeks after we purchased the Long Lake House parcel immediately south of Long Lake Park. Unfortunately, we had somebody throw rocks through several of the windows in that facility. And then just a few weeks ago, we got a call from someone in the public saying that the bathroom, the sink at Hunter Park was full of needles. And when we received the call, we candidly thought it might be a bit of an exaggeration. And when we got on site, we found they were not exaggerating, that someone had broken into one of the needle deposit boxes and emptied all the contents out into the sink. So just a couple examples of the multiple different things. We have people unspool the toilet paper from the toilet paper rolls in the bathrooms and then light those on fire. That's a once a month occasion in our parks, unfortunately. Maybe just briefly on some of the thefts. So unfortunately, we've had two different cart thefts this year in parks, one at Rainer Vista and one at the Rack. So unfortunately, a seasonal was cleaning the bathrooms here in the middle of the day at Rainer Vista Community Park and left the keys in the electric cart that he uses to service the park. And several teenagers were watching and saw the cart was exposed, and so they jumped in and took the cart. The contents that was in it, there was a blower and a line trimmer that were in that were never recovered. So that was $880 of value that we lost. We never caught them. Fortunately, out of conscience, they did return the cart in the middle of the night that night. Otherwise, it would have been a $17,000 loss to the city. The second cart was stolen on July 15th from the Rack. Similar situation, employees cleaning the bathrooms, and some teenagers jump in and take it for a joyride. We got a call from one of the park users. Actually, we have a really regular park user out there that called our park staff and told our department where they had seen the vehicle off site. And so one of our employees lives really close to the park, so he was able to walk over to where the vehicle was last seen and actually catch the suspects and get the vehicle back. But unfortunately, there was some damage during their joyride, so we had $510 worth of materials to repair on the vehicle and 8.5 hours worth of labor for our mechanics to repair that cart. Unfortunately, we had our shop broken into the week of August 5th, 2 separate times. We had several vehicle windows broken out. Vehicles were locked. The windows were smashed out, and generators and power tools stolen from within the vehicles. Repairs to the windows were $2,700. Replacement costs of the power tools, $4,500. And then another, almost $5,000 worth in labor just to put up security cameras, like temporary game cameras. We have to go out and check those cameras every day, clear all the images, and that was a tremendous time consumption. Fortunately, Lacey PD did make an arrest after the second break-in, and we haven't had a problem since. So thank you, Chief, to you and your crew.
Thanks, Chief.
Just another small break-in. We had the fence cut a couple weeks ago out at the Rack, and somebody broke into our fuel cabinet and carried off as many fuel cans as they could carry. $500 worth of losses there. I really don't mean to discourage you. We're going to try and end on a positive note. So before we get there, summary of some graffiti in the city. So I just want to highlight the 84 events in 285 days at city parks and facilities. So that's 2 a week, 1 every 3 days is about what we're facing on a weekly basis. That doesn't include all the graffiti removal that the rest of the public works does. That would include DOT properties, right-of-ways, other departments on some of those electrical control cabinets that we were just talking about doing the wraps for. Lots of graffiti removal on those as well. So these would be some of the examples of graffiti that's not included in these type of events that we're summarizing for you today.
What's up, a question?
Go ahead.
If we wrap the electrical boxes, can you remove the graffiti? No.
Yeah, they'll be coated with a coating that will prevent easy cleanup.
So you can clean the graffiti. Okay, cool.
Unfortunately, we'll probably find out.
Yeah.
So just a quick summary of some of the more notable park events. This individual suspect here tagged Homer Park on 9 separate occasions, resulted in 16 bathrooms being closed to the public, 60 hours worth of labor just to cover up all the graffiti, $540 worth of material. So this is another example of we were able to post some game cameras in the park and capture some images of the individuals, and the facilities department was actually able to catch. They were out cleaning up some graffiti from the night before and caught these suspects in the park, and police responded very quickly and were able to trespass them from the park. So huge. I wish facilities was here with us. They're a tremendous asset to our department. This individual here used a paint pen that was incredibly difficult to remove and cover up. So each of these doors or walls that he painted would require 3 coats of paint afterwards to completely cover up. And so our facilities department was a huge asset to us and helped with a lot of that cover up over the 6 or 8 weeks that he was involved. There's another artist that was trespassed from the rack on September 15th. He was involved in 2 events out at the rack, one at Woodland Creek and one at the McKinney House. Approximately 13 hours worth of labor weekend specifically tracked to his tags, costing the city $700 to clean up and mitigate.
Do they have to repay that cost when we catch them?
That's a good question, Mayor. So we forward all this information to the police and they forward it to the prosecuting attorney's office, and whether or not it's a priority enough for them to seek restitution, I'm not certain. Chief might be able to answer that one better than I could.
So, yeah, it's an interesting thing. So the first slide that was shown, the kid that was hitting Hunter Mark Park, he's actually a local middle schooler. So he probably won't get filed on per se, but need more of a juvenile intervention. City manager and I have discussed we're restarting or attempting to restart our graffiti and litter abatement programs, where our senior volunteers would take out kids that we've identified, and rather than getting them involved in the criminal justice system, doing a diversion with them, getting them out, giving them some mentoring and some opportunity to clean up some of the damage, light damage that they've caused or seen in the
Good.
community. So that's we're doing that. Hopefully start that off beginning of next year, working on the details on that right now.
So it's a diversion. They can choose to do that rather than going into the court system
Right.
Okay.
And not, so yeah, there's a monetary value, but also we want to make sure that we rehabilitate, get these kids on the right path.
Yeah.
We've had really good success in the past using our senior volunteers to help mentor these kids, and that's been all positive interactions.
I like that a lot. That's great.
Yeah, I do too. Have them come out and clean up some of this stuff and see how hard it is. They don't think about that.
Just a couple more slides. So this is another individual that was involved with 9 different events at the rack. One at Steilacoom Reservoir, just adjacent to the rack. Approximately 24 hours worth of staff labor to clean up after this individual. And he also was caught and trespassed from the rack on September 15th. Just another graffiti artist. We'll skip that one so we can get done on time here. So kind of in summary, to date, we've had 368 hours just in parks and facilities. That's taken away from other work that we should be doing and could be doing. Labor costs of the city is $19,000. Material costs to repair equipment, replace equipment, paint over graffiti, $11,000. So if you project out those numbers for the next 2 months, we're looking at $36,000 in labor as a city. If you also include the rapid response team and all the other departments, for a total of 690 hours for public works operations. So that's a 200% increase over our 5-year average. This year's hopefully an anomaly. And we usually average 225 hours as a shop responding to these type of events. We're looking at well over 700 hours if you were to include my time looking at cameras and monitoring. And hopefully this isn't a trend. Hopefully this is an anomaly.
Yeah, Jamie, you're absolutely right. It doesn't cover the cost of the police investigation. We have a crime analyst that looks at a lot of this graffiti, looking for monikers and similar tags, make sure we can identify who's doing what. And then as soon as we get outside there and call to the scene, identify who it is. A lot of times if we see the picture, our SROs are able to say, our school resource officers are able to look at it and say, oh, I know that kid. Or we show up to school administrators, oh yeah, we know that guy. So we do an intervention with that child and get them on the right path. Sometimes it's older folks and that's not the case. So, But yeah, there's a lot of investigative time that goes into this. There's a lot of camera watching time that Jamie talks about. That's lost time. So there's a lot that actually goes into this. It's not a victimless crime, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a frustrating loss of public resources and lots of time and money that could be going elsewhere, that unfortunately isn't. So, so some good news. I didn't want to just be a big downer this morning. So, we've had a lot of security cameras out to the rack this year, and I think the reason that we've had so many people caught and so much evidence obtained and so many trespasses is because we do have these new cameras in place. So that has been a really good resource for us. Like I mentioned, the police did make an arrest on the break-in here at the shop, and we've had 6 other trespasses specifically related to graffiti in our parks this year. And I think here's the real good news. So what's our mission? Our mission is to build an attractive, inviting, and secure community. That's part of Lacey's mission. And I think that as the Parks Department, we take a lot of pride in being able to do that concretely. We feel that we do concretely provide Lacey with the mission that it set out to do. And so this is a wall, College Street, just north of City Hall, actually. So College Street, as it begins to go over I-5, this is along the I-5 path. We clean this 10 times a year usually. And if you look at the picture on the right, hopefully as a park trail user, when you pass that, you don't know what was there previously. And so we really are trying to renew the mission that, when you're using, this is the Woodland Trail, this is the I-5 tunnel underneath Slater-Kinney, that when the public uses these spaces, after they've been defaced, that hopefully we've done a good enough job that we've restored them to their original condition, and people genuinely do see Lacey as a nice place to be and an inviting and attractive community to be. So we're happy to be a part of that. That is all.
Well, thank you, Jamie, and you guys definitely are a huge part of that. It's very much appreciated, the work that you're doing, so thank you.
And I really can't understate how much facilities helps us with that. So I wish they were here to share in that credit, because they deserve a lot of it.
My only recommendation is, if we don't have permanent cameras at all of our parks, we should probably make that investment, because I don't see it as our population is growing. I mean, we have more incidences like this. And so the other thing is to make sure we have signs letting the public know that they're being videoed as well. I know in my business, it wasn't just enough putting up the video cameras. I had to say, oh, by the way, there's video cameras here. And that may be, especially on the younger kids, they're like, oh, geez, if I know I'm being videotaped or video nice about it.
Yeah, I would agree. The cameras, it seems to be working, because you did, make an arrest, you did get some trespass. You're catching the kids that are doing it. And if we need to invest in the money in the cameras to help make that happen, I would be fully supportive of that as well, because there is, like you said, there is a cost. And I mean, it's the cost that the whole community is paying. So anything we can do to stop it or make less of it, would be supported by this council. Thank you very much, Jamie. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
Yes.
Yeah, if I could just say, I'd really like to thank Scott Devlin and then Jamie Oakland and his team, Chris Kirk and his team, and the chief and police, for pursuing this. Because, most people that visit our parks, and our parks are jewels of Lacey, don't see this because of how quickly they respond and address it. So I think they're doing a phenomenal job. I'd just like to thank them all for great work they're doing to keep our parks the jewels of,
No, thank you. I appreciate that, because I think you're right. I think the fact that we don't let graffiti stay not only in our parks, but in the city in general. I think the city's done a really good job of eradicating it quickly when it's seen, when it's reported. And I think that helps, because I think the more people see it, particularly those who do it, seeing it there gives them, just makes them want to go do more of it. So I think the fact that we cover it quickly is probably helpful in preventing more of it than we're getting.
I mean, there's a lot of crime-based theory on that. And really, full credit to Scott Edgar and his crews. you know, much like when it snows, you can tell what's Lacey and what's not Lacey when you go down Martin Way, because he
Yep.
takes care of the road so well. Other folks, other entities don't, and that's what makes Lacey special, right? Take care of, so it doesn't turn into blight, and it is a high quality of life, and it's where people want to come and stay and visit and play and spend their money and be educated.
Absolutely agree.
Tell you how dedicated Jamie is. He said he was gonna go camp out in the park to catch these people. So I don't know if he actually pitched the tent or not, but
No camping.
Well, it is disheartening to think, as proud as we are about our parks, and then you see the numbers and the impact it has on the community, because it's costing the community.
Absolutely.
And so if community members see activity, let us know. I mean, again, we do not want to degrade our parks. So appreciate all the work, Jamie.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of our agenda. Anyone have anything else? If not, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.